Hi, we're standing on the banks of the Hudson River in Englewood, New Jersey, down in the Palisades Interstate Park. It's a beautiful spot and nice time to be here. It's a real crisp, bright day in November. I'm Christopher Letts. I work for the Hudson River Foundation. I was thinking about it the other day. I've been doing environmental education programs for 40 years now and on the Hudson River for almost 30. I like it. Today I've got a couple of classes of city kids coming over here. We're going to take a 50-foot net and put it in the water, see what we can catch. Talk about the little animals that we get one by one. The whole idea is that the kids should understand that the river is a valuable resource, that it is alive, that it's not the polluted entity that it was 25 years ago. It deserves our respect, and we certainly deserve to have the good use of the river. What do I think we're going to get today? Well, the Hudson is full of surprises. In the last week in October, my partner and I hauled out a 30-pound carp and a pail full of lion's mane jellyfish. Those are certainly strange bedfellows in anybody's book. Generally, though, we expect to catch a fairly wide variety of fish, shrimp, and crabs. Certainly there will be some striped bass, probably some flounders, little fish called silversides, and always dozens and dozens of tiny bay anchovies. Come on along for the ride. We're going to have fun today. Some of you can see this, and the rest of you have decided to opt out. When your bus got here this morning, I picked up a stick on the beach and I brought it down and I set it right at the very edge of the tide water. When the last cast came down to the beach, the water was here, so we put another stick in. Now the water level's here, and I'm going to put another stick in. Look at that. That's 15 feet from where the water was when your bus got here to where it is right now. What does that mean? Nobody moved the sticks, so what moved?
The water.
And what do we call that?
Tide.
So is the tide, what's the tide doing?
Going out.
Tide is going out. Yes. Now, yes, we did catch fish last time. We caught fish and we caught crabs and we caught shrimp. But we didn't, because the tide was still fairly high, we didn't get out as far as I wanted to go. This time the tide is going out. It's gone out even farther. We're going to put the net in the water and haul it around in a big circle. When we bring it up on the beach, you'll need to be quiet so you can hear what's going on. After we get done with that, I want all the kids lined up on the other side of the railing. Did we do this last year? Pass the net up and over the railing. You can get that one organized, okay? Ready? Yep, you're going to get in the mud this time. You in the mud yet? Sort of like treading water. I don't know what else to tell you. I kind of rock my feet. I never let my foot stay still, even the one I'm... Uh-oh. I'm actually leaning back against the net. Come on, just 2 or 3 more steps. I'm on sand. Okay, keep going. Keep going. Head for the beach. I'm really surprised we didn't get any striped bass last time. Nothing. Now remember, you get a choice of either being parrots or owls. And if you're chattering and jabbering, then I can't tell you what we're doing. Okay, keep that lead line right down in the sand. The old timers used to say knuckle down. That's what they meant.
Your knuckles look like.
Well, nobody ever said fishing was easy. Ooh, that's interesting. Wonder what that cost us. Hold it. Let me get this out. Doggone it. That cost us part of our catch. However, this is a fish.
Wait, a clam. A clam.
You know, guys, you need to, Mia.
All of you stand back, stand up, make a semicircle. You know how to do that? Everyone needs to get a spot. Back up, Dave.
See that big fish?
You're just gonna have to be patient, folks.
Back up.
Okay.
Back up.
You know, we've done this before. We know what's in the net. We're gonna take our time getting to it. This is one of the fish that I told you
Back up even more.
we really can't send that back for your tank because this is one of the kinds of fish that never learns how to turn the corner. How about this fish? Would you like that one for your tank?
Yeah.
But you can't have anything else in the tank if you have this.
Back up, back up.
Okay.
It's too big. Well, we can talk about it. Oh, what about this guy? I don't know. That's pretty big for a tank like yours because the crab's going to grow. And grow and grow and grow. Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. I'm sure we don't need this one though. So I'm going to...
Oh, there's one.
Oh boy, this is one that...
We have one right here.
Man, that mud is nasty.
Listen.
We can send a couple of these little guys back with you, and we hope that they will do okay in the tank. Those are called silver sides. Guess why?
They're silver.
Because the sides are silver. Aren't they what?
There's one over here.
Okay, you're going to have to be patient. We know what's in the net. We're going to get... Lisa, just leave it. Just leave the net. Leave the net. If we don't do this systematically, we're going to get all kerfritzed. Ooh! Wow! Well, I'm a little concerned about this one. That is a striped bass, and that's pretty big for your... Whoa! Look at this. It's hard for you to tell just what this is. It is a shrimp and another shrimp all stuck together with... What's that? Jellyfish, and that jellyfish is not going to make it in your tank either. And look at these. These are the fish that we caught the most of last time. They won't live in your tank either, I'm sorry to say. These are anchovies.
Anchovies.
Anchovies, bay anchovies. But they are very fragile little fish, and we've learned the hard way that they don't do well in aquariums.
Look, there's a little shrimp. He can't get in the water.
Oh, I guess we're stuck with parrots. I'm just gonna stop talking.
You know what?
Another striped bass, but it's much smaller. Do you see that? It's 1/3 the size. I think this one will be okay in your tank.
Don't call out.
Can you see why we call this the silver sides?
Yeah.
It shines in the sun. We can send 1 or 2 back with you, but they don't do real well in the tanks either.
We don't want to take animals that are not going to live.
I said crab. Get that one out. Oh, I want to eat some crab. Oh my gosh. What is that?
A whole bouquet of crabs.
I love crabs too. I love them.
Well, if we sent this crab back with you, you couldn't have anything else in your tank.
Hey, there's a crab.
And would you mind?
Yeah, just listen.
Yeah, I want
This crab would totally dominate the tank, and we'd eat everything else in the tank. So I think we're not going to take that back. Ooh, ooh. This is a strange and wonderful fish. This is a tiny drum. It's a member of the drum family, and they actually make sounds in their throat that sounds like a drum. This is a baby. This one is only a couple of days old, maybe a week old at the most. I'm going to take that one back to Tom, my friend Tom, because he keeps a record of things like that. Another striped bass in good condition, and I don't think that one's too big. Look at all the crabs. These crabs are headed for their winter quarters. Another silver sides. Crabs, crabs, crabs. I hate this mud because you really can never tell what you've got down there. It's easy to miss the good stuff.
This crab wants to hold my finger.
No, those are too big for you, and I don't need any more. I was hoping for a flounder, something like that.
Something around here. Oh, here it is.
Ooh, what is that? Oh, it's another. It's called a menhaden. These guys. You know, it's not just that it's too big. It's that they never learn how to turn corners in the tank. They just stick their head against the wall and keep swimming. This is an interesting fish. It's got a big mouth, but that doesn't mean it eats big things for food. What it does is swim through the water with its mouth open, and all of the tiny little plankton, zooplankton and phytoplankton are out there. It combs them out of the water with its gills. Water goes in the mouth and comes out the side of the gill right here, like that. That's how the fish breathe. This one, there are millions of these out here. This one is, all of the fish that we've caught so far, except for the white perch, which is that great big one, these were all hatched out this year. The white perch is maybe 10 years old. That's certainly the oldest of all the fish, maybe 10 years old. I'm keeping some of these small fish, the menhaden and the anchovies, because the animals back in my garage, the eels and the crabs and the shrimp are hungry, and out here in the river, this is what they would eat. So I'm taking these home for food. So I'm doing my grocery shopping right now for all the little animals in my garage. But I think we did pretty good by you. We've got, oh, here's another baby drum. Oh, that's...
They would love you if you would give them all the food you
Tom's going to be excited about that.
Yeah, a few more shrimp.
Get out of here.
Are the shrimp in good shape?
They're both active. And the crab is not good.
No, just flip the crab back out there. The crabs are tough as the dickens. Tough as the dickens. Bunch it up in your hands. You know, this is the way you hold it, like this. Oh, cut it out. Well, it's certainly less than a month old, but it's already had to do the most dangerous thing a crab can do. It's already had to do it about 8 times. Has to shed its shell. Crabs have their skeleton on the outside. We call it an exoskeleton. And because it's on the outside, and because of the way it's constructed, it doesn't grow. Your skeleton grows, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you end up at the end of your life with pretty much the same skeleton you started out with. When a crab sheds its shell, it has to open its shell up right back here, and it crawls out, and it gets twice as big in about 5 minutes. And then it takes 3 or 4 days for the shell to get hard. And during that time, we call it a soft shell crab. And during that time, anything that can find it, including other crabs, even its own brothers and sisters, will eat it. But they have to do it or they'd never grow. So it happens out there all the time. It will happen in your classroom. It won't happen out here in the river anymore because the water temperature is dropping. Winter is coming.
Yep.
And when the water gets cold, crabs stop growing. They go down in the mud and they wait. They wait for spring. But in your classroom, it's always going to be September because it's always warm in your classroom.
We should only take one.
Well, we can give you two small ones, and we'll see what happens. Sometimes one gets eaten. Sometimes they don't live. If it looks like there's going to be a problem, I'm sure that you can find somebody who would be willing to take it. But you don't want to take a big crab because they get big so fast. It's just amazing. These crabs have probably shed their shell 2 more times than this little tiny one here.
Oh my God.
They get big quite fast.
Can they breathe?
By the time New Year's comes, your crab could be this big. The next time it sheds its shell, it could be this big.
Oh my God. This is good.
And then comes this.
Oh my God. Twice as bigger.
Now, I don't know whether the crabs that I'm going to give you are males or females, but I'll tell you how you can find out for yourselves. I'm pointing to a shape on the underside of the crab.
Oh, I know.
What's the shape?
A triangle.
A triangle is the sign that it is a young female crab.
How big?
Now I'm going to hold this one up.
Does it have blue on it? Oh. It got blue on it.
I'm going to hold this one up. We see a different shape. So if this one's a female, then this one has to be
A male.
a male. The male keeps the same, that's actually its tail, by the way. And the male doesn't need, well, crabs don't need tails anyway, except the male keeps it because there's no way to get rid of it. It was born that way. The female does use her tail. And in the young females, we find the triangle. But in the older females, the ones that are carrying eggs, the shape of the tail changes for the last part of their life.
Oh my God.
And this is a fully mature female blue crab, and she's carrying eggs. She's not going to lay those eggs this year. It's winter. She knows better than that. She's headed for south of the border. She's going to go down to Staten Island. Look at that shape.
Man, she's big.
This is a good-sized female crab. Now you can see why we call them blue crabs.
It looks like they're blue.
And you can see some other things too.
Look like we see the under its body.
This crab has 10 legs. All crabs do. But only 3 of the legs really look like legs. 1, 2, 3 on this side, and 1, 2, 3 on this side. But these are legs too. Took millions of years for this leg to turn into something that we call the claw. And that's how the crab defends itself, and that's how the crab gets its food. Then it took other millions of years for the crab to turn another pair of legs
Ooh, it's about to cut you.
into this.
A pedal.
It looks like a paddle or a fin, and that's why we call the blue crabs swimming crabs. They can swim very fast. I'm going to let this one go today. I caught her 2 months ago. She has lived in my garage in a laundry tank. She's eaten probably 50 fish during that time and about 20 shrimp. She keeps eating even when the males stop. She's taking care of those eggs. She needs a lot of food so that those eggs will develop.
Oh, she's healthy.
She's healthy. She's a big, heavy crab. And you can tell that it's been a long time since she shed her shell because her shell almost looks a little dirty. Did you see how clean this guy's shell looks? That looks dark and discolored. That's because there's algae growing on the shell. She's been living in this shell long enough for colonies of algae to form on the shell.
I think she's trying to scratch it off.
No, she's trying to pinch me. She's not happy at all. But honey, this is your lucky day because I promised you the next time I came down to Jersey, I was going to let you go down here and she'll catch that outgoing tide. And with those swimming fins, she'll catch a ride and she'll be down under the George Washington Bridge before you guys get back to school.
Oh.
And then tomorrow when the tide goes out again, she'll do the same thing, and she'll keep right on going. It's getting pretty late in the year. I probably should have let her go 2 weeks ago. But I don't often see these crabs, and I think it's interesting for you folks to see them. Another way you can tell that she's a female is by looking at the tips of her claws and seeing what color that is. What color?
Purple. Purple. It looks like
The tips of the claws?
red.
Red. My friend Tom always says that he thinks that's fingernail polish.
Yeah.
Pay attention when I find a can like this. I like to see if there's... Get some strange things in these cans sometimes.
What are those? Got two. Whoa. What are those?
What are those?
Eel.
Those are baby eels.
How big do they get? Over here. Man, they look cool.
These tiny eels are somewhere between 2 and 3 years old. When they were 1 year old, they were swimming through the ocean, and they were well camouflaged because they looked just like that glass. As a matter of fact, people call them glass eels. When they swim into the Hudson River, you could take a handful of them and look right through them and see your fingerprints. And then, because now they're home in the Hudson River, the place where their parents came from, and because they're going to stay here for most of the rest of their lives, now it's time for them to get some pigment. What is pigment? What is pigment? All these eels got pigment. What?
How does the color from the leaves have pigment in them too? That's what makes the color.
Color. And these eels are green and yellow and brown because that's the color of the bottom of the river. Did you see the mud that Lisa and I caught?
Yeah.
Okay, they fit in beautifully there. That's great camouflage for them. Eels are also nocturnal. What does that mean? And at the end, the teacher said, well, what shall I do with the animal? And I said, well, why don't you keep it? And she did, and now the eel is this big.
Oh my.
And his name is Hudson.
Hudson.
And everybody in school comes to visit Hudson, and all the parents have to meet Hudson. This eel, you know, sometimes we think we're so smart, we think we know all there is to know about the river, and then we get a lesson. And people who are doing scientific research on eels in the Hudson River have found out that if you catch this eel down here, it's probably 4 or 5 years old. But if you go up to Poughkeepsie or Albany and catch this eel, it could be 8 or 10 years old. And we don't know why. We may never know why. But from the tiny eels that I just showed you to that eel, of course they have to go through a middle stage. And would you like an eel for a pet back with you? And we caught several of them. What's this?
Striped bass.
These are striped bass. These are babies, like almost everything else we caught today. The pipefish are babies. The crabs are babies. The striped bass are babies. The eels are babies. And I've got another fish that we didn't catch today. I brought them along so that you could take a couple of those back. These are fish that are really hard. They're very hardy. And they eat, oh boy, do they eat. These are called mummy chugs. What else did we get? I wanted to show you this white perch. This white perch is a close relative of the striped bass. But these little striped bass are only 5 months old. This white perch is 7 or 8 years old. They grow very slowly. If you take the white perch back, you can't have anything else in your tank. The tank wouldn't be big enough.
Can we touch it?
Look at this. Look at the fins on the perch.
Ooh, can I see? Can I see?
This is how the perch protects itself. Can you see how sharp these are?
If we put that,
I think probably you'd be disappointed because fish that are big like that and old like that don't adapt as well as the younger fish do to the aquarium. Okay, let me see if there's anything else. Oh yes, I know one other thing we got today. We must have gotten, I would say 15 or 20 of them. These little animals. Yeah, these are shrimp. Hudson River shrimp. We caught different kinds than this. We caught sand shrimp. Would look a little different than this, but you're going to enjoy these. These are fun. These are fun to watch. I always think they look a little bit like butterflies when they're swimming around the tank. The one thing is you're going to have to do is give them some furniture to hide behind, because just like the crab, they shed their shells. They are also crustaceans, and when they shed their shells, they need to be in a safe place. So some of them can hide on these sticks. These are pretty neat sticks.
But how can we fit the tank in?
Well, you're going to just put these in the tank and you're going to lean them up against the side, and the shrimp can hide. Maybe they'll swim into the hole in the bark here.
Should we put it in the green part? Do they eat each other?
What are all these little bumps?
Breathing.
Do you know?
Yes, barnacles.
These are all alive. Every one of these little bumps is going to open up and stick its legs out and start waving food into its mouth. It's going to be a real zoo. They're fun to watch. Have you seen them? Barnacles are nice. Neat to watch. Neat to watch. No, it's not. Flatfish. This is a baby flounder. A winter flounder. Nice to be on the flight path. These are neat little fish. These are beautifully camouflaged. Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
Camouflaged? As a matter of fact, I've been working with this fish and I can make it disappear.
Oh, yeah. Last year. Yeah, we saw it last year.
Okay, well, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. I can make it disappear, right?
Yeah.
Right? You believe that?
No. Yeah.
How many people think I can really make this fish disappear?
Me. I know.
So,
I don't do anything by now.
well, we had ourselves a time. We watched the tide go out. We hauled the net. We caught 2 different kinds of crabs, 2 different kinds of shrimp, 9 different kinds of fish. Some of those little animals are now on their way back to classrooms where they'll be studied and appreciated throughout the rest of the school year. The rest are swimming around back out there in the river. Autumn's almost over and winter's coming on. This is one of the last seining programs of the year. I see it go with reluctance, and always I look forward to next year and the abundant surprises that the Hudson River has in store for us.